Pakistan's caretaker Prime Minister. That's the breaking news that we're getting to you here on India Today. First, with Nawaz Sharif out, the ruling Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz has met and appointed Shahid Abbasi Khaqan as the caretaker Prime Minister till the next Prime Minister takes office. This barely 24 hours after Nawaz Sharif was disqualified from holding office by Pakistan's Supreme Court. Shahid Abbasi Khaqan becomes the Pakistani caretaker Prime Minister. Pakistan has had several caretaker Prime Ministers in the past as well. He is the latest. Former Petroleum Minister Shahid Abbasi Khaqan is now the caretaker Prime Minister of Pakistan. Well, the decision comes just a few hours after Nawaz Sharif was disqualified by the country's Supreme Court on the back of the Panama Papers revelations. There was speculation that Shahbaz Sharif, the brother of the Prime Minister, could have stood in as Prime Minister, but it has been decided by the PMLN party of Nawaz Sharif that it will be Shahid Abbasi Khaqan, a former petroleum minister and a senior leader of the PMLN, who will now stand in to be caretaker Prime Minister of Pakistan until a permanent Prime Minister is appointed at a later date, perhaps. Well, this is the very latest news. This is a big twist. Analysts around the world had expected that it would be Shahbaz Sharif who would be the new Prime Minister. Who is this man? Who is Shahid Abbasi Khaqan, who's been made the caretaker Prime Minister of Pakistan? For that, let's go straight across to India Today's Hamza Amir joining us live from Islamabad. Hamza, take us through this brand new development, the new caretaker Prime Minister of Pakistan.
Yes, in fact, since yesterday, when Nawaz Sharif's government was actually, toppled and ousted by the Supreme Court order, PMLN leadership sat yesterday to decide on who is going to be the permanent Prime Minister after 45 days. And for the first 45 days, there was a meeting held today in Punjab House in which it was decided that Shahid Khaqan Abbasi, he was basically the Minister for Petroleum and Natural Resources till yesterday, is actually going to be the caretaker Prime Minister for at least 45 days. And after that, as we have reported before, Shahbaz Sharif is actually the one who is going to be recommended and appointed as the permanent Prime Minister.
Tell us a little bit more about this particular individual who's going to be the caretaker Prime Minister, Hamza. He's a former petroleum minister. Who is he? Tell us more about him.
Well, Shahid Khaqan Abbasi has been associated to PMLN for a very long time. He hails from the Murray area, at a mountainous area, hill station right next to Islamabad. He won the seat from the same place. He basically also is one of the owners of the airline called Air Blue, that domestic and international airline that runs from Pakistan. And just recently enough, he was actually the federal minister for petroleum and natural resources. So he's someone who's actually been from day one with PMLN. He does not have a history of switching political parties as a background. So I think he is the right choice when it comes to selecting someone who will not back off within these 45 days or give more surprises and backstabbing to PMLN, because they've already got this very, very damaging decision against them by the Supreme Court.
Yes.
And they need to ensure that these 45 days move on smoothly so that Shahbaz Sharif can actually take power.
Okay, so you're saying that in the next 45 days is when the appointment of Shahbaz Sharif, will be formalized. What are we expecting to see happen politically speaking, Hamza, over the next 45 days? What kind of due process needs to be followed leading to the appointment of Shahbaz Sharif as Prime Minister?
Well, as part of the procedures, it is pertinent that one caretaker Prime Minister has to take place of the sitting Prime Minister first for a smooth transition towards the next permanent Prime Minister. Now, for the next 45 days, there are very, very important things that need to be tackled on part of PMLN itself, because they've still got cases in the National Accountability Court that have been ordered on Sharif's family by the Supreme Court. So that needs to be tackled out. Then there are other issues of the similar Akama cases of Dubai, against Khwaja Asif and other members of PMLN. That needs to be sorted out as well. And I think these 45 days are going to be a very difficult phase for the sitting Prime Minister to ensure that, this transition actually happens. If that does not actually go through that way, then there is highly likely that the same Supreme Court might actually disqualify even more people of the party before the next general elections, which is actually going to be a major setback again for PMLN already, who's lost popularity after the ouster of the Prime Minister itself.
Hamza, one of the things that a lot of people are curious about is how the dynamic changes as far as the army is concerned. I don't think anybody is under any illusion about, the army's own position in Pakistan. But what does all of this political turmoil, these changes, a caretaker prime minister, then a permanent prime minister, the fall of Nawaz Sharif and his family, all of this, where does this leave the army? I mean, does this fortify the army's position? Does it make them stronger?
Well, I think, there is no doubt that army in Pakistan, even in the past 4 years of Nawaz Sharif's ruling government, has been the supreme power. They are the ones who actually have been calling the shots, which have been justified on the political front and endorsed by Nawaz Sharif himself. It's just only been, someone who's actually endorsing decisions taken from the military establishment at the back end. Because now, this time around, the army, they really does not want to bring in their forces on ground, they do not want to see a coup happening in Pakistan, only for the fact that they are the ones who've taken guarantees of projects like China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. So they do not actually want to see that happen. So I think, even going forward, army is going to stay in control. And I think this does not change the fact that, the political democracy, so-called democracy in Pakistan, is going to have its, front face showing to the world that, yes, there is democracy, but yes, the army has been in control. They are still in control. Nawaz Sharif had a few issues with the institutions. Unfortunately, that's how his history has been always. 3 times Prime Minister toppled always, twice now by the army and once now by the Supreme Court. So I think this is something that is going to be a mending way for the new caretaker Prime Minister and also for Shahbaz Sharif himself to ensure that the PMLN party actually is able to bring mutual grounds of understanding between the establishment and other institutions that have been the reason for their ouster.
Hamza, thanks very much. So it's Shahid Abbasi Khaqan, who is the new caretaker Prime Minister of Pakistan.